A lot of people know me as a huge Sega collector, but I also collect for other systems. And in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at my NES rare and uncommon titles that are in my collection. So if you guys follow me, you know I have a huge Sega collection. Master System, Genesis, Game Gear, Dreamcast, Sega CD, 32X, Saturn, Pico, an IR 7000. I have so many Sega games, but I also have other games, and I'm actually filming this video in my Nintendo room, and as you can see, I have a lot of Nintendo games as well. You know, my Super Nintendo library is extremely small, a lot of common GameCube titles, a few Wii titles, nothing too extravagant. However, NES is, at least used to be, really easy to collect for. And I have tons of NES games. Probably upwards of close to 400 NES games. So in this video I want to cover some of the uncommon titles that I have in my collection. I believe as of the time of this video, all of these games are valued at $50 or higher for the most part. So we're going to be taking a look at those. In no particular order, I'm just going to walk through some of these and kind of say how I got them, if I can remember. First off, we have Scoon for the NES. Obviously, all these are going to be for the NES. This one I got on Facebook, and I actually got the manual before the game, and then been trying to get the game for a while. Finally was able to get it. So I do have both the game and the manual, which is really cool. Next up is one of the more sought after games for the NES for playability, and that is Dragon Warrior 4. Also off Facebook. In fact, I think all of these, except for one or two, I did get off of Facebook. Next up is a game I was trying to get for the longest time. Finally was able to get a hold of one, and that is Felix the Cat. And then we've got Batman: The Return of the Joker, Donkey Kong Jr. Math, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. And most of these games are in really good condition, especially considering the age. You know, a lot of these have probably been abused over the years, but they're all in really good condition. Next up, we have Die Hard, a game I know a lot of people are looking for, and I was fortunate enough to get a copy, and that is Color a Dinosaur. Next up is Zen, Fire and Ice, the only sports game in this section, I believe, and that is Jimmy Connors Tennis. There's a couple sports titles that are more sought after, mainly just because of the scarcity of them. Next up is Battletoads Double Dragon. And then we've got a game I actually got from a Craigslist posting. This was a couple years ago, and it is Casino Kid 2. I got this in a pretty nice lot. 3 NESs, had Casino Kid 2, it had Ultimate Air Combat, it had about 20 to 30 more games. For a couple $100, it was a great deal. So that's how I got Casino Kid 2. Next up is Contra Force. And then we've got DuckTales 2, Metal Storm. The label's not perfect on this one. It's got a little bit of bubbling, but it is Rockin' Cats, which is a Atlas title. Gargoyles Quest 2. Another pretty sought after game, and it is Chippendale's Rescue Rangers 2. And then we've got Bucky O'Hare, Kickmaster, Swamp Thing, RC Pro-Am 2, Godzilla 2. We've got Mega Man 5. And we also do have the manual for that, which is really awesome. I've had a couple copies of Mega Man 5. This is the one I've decided to keep. It was Mega Man 5 with the manual. I also had a complete in-box copy that I sold. And then we're down to our final 4 games here. And these are all amazing titles and are really sought after. And the value kind of speaks for itself. We've got Gunnak. Next one, a lot of people think it's, an odd game. They don't like the game that much. I actually quite enjoy it. But I like this style of game. And it is Zombie Nation. A lot of people deem this next game, out of all of the more expensive titles, they deem this one probably the most fun to play. It's kind of up there with Little Samson, where they say, a lot of people say it's expensive, yeah, but it's actually fun to play, so it kind of justifies the cost. This is a title kind of similar to that thought, and it is Power Blade 2. I know a lot of people that they have a near complete set and they're missing Power Blade 2. It's very difficult to come by. I was actually able to get this one off of Facebook. And last but not least is Panic Restaurant. And I do also have the manual for Panic Restaurant. I've had a couple copies of this game as well. I had a complete in-box copy I ended up selling, but I decided to keep a copy of the game with the manual to have in my collection. So those are basically my uncommon / scarce. I like to say scarce. When I talk about the NES, I don't consider anything rare, per se, just because it was so widely distributed that there are tons of games out there. Panic Restaurant, at any time I can go on eBay and find a Panic Restaurant. Power Blade 2, jump on, find a Power Blade 2. There's a lot of games that are scarce, and then rarity is a whole nother thing. If we're talking about the Sega Game Gear, I consider Pete Sampras Tennis rare. It never pops up. The only way I was able to get my copy of that game was somebody contacted me, said, hey, I know you've been looking for this, I have this for sale, are you interested? And that game I actually had to bounty out on, because it was one of those games I thought I would never be able to find. Those are the types of games I consider rare. Something like a Little Samson, scarce, not rare. But in this video I just kind of wanted to cover what my current NES higher end collection looks like. That's what it is. I'm currently waiting on a shipment from Custom Game Cases to come in. So I will be casing all of these games and actually recasing most of my NES games in custom game cases so that they fit better and they'll look better on the shelf. And thank you for watching. If you collect for the NES, drop me a comment below. Let me know what are some of your favorite games. What are some of the higher end games in your collection? Are there any high end games that you recommend somebody pick up and play? And what are some of the even lower end games that you recommend somebody would pick up and play? Thank you for watching.